Hey guys, my name is Kaylee and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk everything fitness, self-development, mindset, and wellness. And I'm super excited because this is our comeback to YouTube. Okay, this is where we're going to start posting more consistently, and I wanted to start it off with something that genuinely changed my life. And if you're new here, which you probably are, back in 2025 is when I pretty much flipped the script entirely. I lost over 35 pounds, I launched my business, I got my dream car, and it pretty much changed my life entirely. And so if you're here, you're probably looking to do the same. So let's get into the 8 things that genuinely changed my life and helped me to level up. Number one, and people talk about this a lot, but really don't understand how important it is to customize it to you, and it's having a morning routine and really guarding that morning routine as much as possible. So one of the things that I really focused on was making sure that I wasn't sleeping in longer than I needed to, because a lot of the times I would sleep in till 10 o'clock, 9:30, and that always made me feel like I was losing at the start of the day when I was sleeping in longer than I need to. So that being said, having a good time to wake up where you feel energized, you don't have to have a 5:30 a.m. morning routine. I tried to do that. It didn't work for me. 6:30, 7 o'clock is my sweet spot where I feel good, energized, and so having a good time to wake up so you feel like you're winning at the start of your day. So that's number one. Number two, when it comes to guarding your morning routine, is absolutely no scrolling. Okay, when you are consuming other people's lives first thing in the morning, it really does mess you up more than you think. You probably think, oh, it helps me to wake up, it makes me feel more inspired, but really I noticed when I'm scrolling first thing in the morning, or I'm listening to a YouTube vlog in the background, or I'm listening to a podcast in the background first thing when I wake up, I'm noticing I'm a lot more anxious, I'm a lot more reactive. I don't know how to act in accordance to what I want to do. You know what I mean? When I'm consuming all of these other words and people first thing in the morning. So really just having a quiet morning is so important as well. And then of course having your solid habits that you do. For me, I could never really get into meditation or affirmations. It's just not my thing. And so I tried it all, but definitely having a set of habits that you enjoy that really ground you for the morning. So for me, it's always getting up, doing my skincare, making my breakfast, and then I go straight into reading my scriptures, praying, and journaling, and then I get ready for the day. Like, my morning routine is on lock no matter what, and this is what helps to ground me. I feel good, I feel energized, and I'm very tapped in spiritually and intuitively to kickstart my entire day. So definitely encourage you to have a good solid morning routine to start off your day, because this is what's going to replicate throughout the entirety of your day. And how you start your day is how the rest of your day is going to go, and how your days go is how your week is going to go. So definitely start there. Second thing is, I really prioritized my physical health and I lost weight. It wasn't okay, get your health in check kind of deal. It was more of a, I made it a priority to lose weight, because I knew the route that I was going with my health wasn't the route that I wanted to take with my life. You know, having those habits that kept me overweight, the undisciplinedness, stuck in my same cycles, binge eating, etc., that's what kept me stuck. And so I made it a point to be able to lose weight. And so within that, I got to the root, like I said, of my laziness, my undisciplinedness, my cycles, my binge eating. I got to the root of it all, and I started to focus on creating a plan that overcame those things, and things that I could actually stick to. Like, no more challenges that kept me stuck in a loop, no more excessive game plans that made me feel good but I couldn't stick to. I instead had a plan that I enjoyed. I started to ask myself deeper questions when it came to my health, and I just created a whole plan around my fitness and nutrition to help me to lose weight. And so I made it a point and an effort to focus on my physical health. And you'll notice when you start to focus on your physical health in general, you're also working on your mindset, you're working on your habits, you're starting to relearn everything that you are as a person to your core. It really is a self-development journey in itself. And so with that being said, I focus specifically on losing weight, and that helped to improve my confidence in how I show up in my day-to-day. And it just made me feel good to move my body, to fuel my body, to see it as another challenge for me to do and accomplish. And that itself helped me to build a lot of self-trust within myself, a lot of new habits, like I mentioned, and really just rewiring my mindset as a whole in a physical way, if that makes sense, all while losing weight in the process. Number 3 is, I stopped scrolling on social media as a whole. This is actually something that I just started implementing, but has made the hugest difference, because I was the kind of person would have like 8 to 10 hours screen time. Now my screen time in terms of scrolling is less than an hour, sometimes even less than 30 minutes. And the reason why it's like that is because I notice if I'm trying to be creative, create content, create things for my business or whatever it is, if I'm consuming other people's content, I feel cluttered. Okay, I'm utterly cluttered. It's taking so much of my time. I'm not being productive with my time. And when I do have that time where I'm trying to tap into my own creativity, I'm trying to tap into others. And so I decided to peel that layer back entirely because I was just not functioning at the highest place that I could be when it comes to pushing out content. And when it came to doing this, I had a social media blocker on my phone. So I use Opal. So it pretty much locks me out of my apps entirely. So I'm not scrolling. Or if I do need to get into social media, I have to go through pretty much a whole process in order to do that. And it is kind of a pain in the ass, not gonna lie, to do that. But I noticed that when I am doing this and I make the effort to not scroll, my mind is just a lot more fluid, more thoughts come to mind, my content comes more easily, and I'm not depending on other people's creativity to create my content. You know what I mean? So this helped me to function a lot better, and just my mental health got so much better when I started to do this. And plus my time opened up a lot more for me to be able to do stuff like this. You know what I mean? Without spending hours and hours, 8+ hours, right, in my day consuming other things and really not moving the needle forward towards anything. Number 4 is I invested into my health even when I didn't really have the money for it. So when I first started kickstarting my journey, I needed something new. I needed something exciting. Like I needed to give myself a little bit of motivation, you know what I mean, to get started, and to really just kickstart the journey as a whole. And so what I did is I invested into a heated membership. And so this is around $200 something a month, and it's for 10 classes during the month, group classes. And I genuinely loved doing this. It was such a great start to my journey. And $200 was a lot, you know, at 200, I think it was close to $300 was a lot at the time. And so it was an investment into my health. But when I did it, I started to really romanticize my life. And as soon as you start romanticizing your journey, your life in general, everything becomes easier. You start to enjoy it more. I started to enjoy moving my body. Losing weight became a lot easier because I was focusing on the journey, because I enjoyed the form of movement I was doing. Because I enjoyed that, I enjoyed the other aspects and seeing what ways can I continue this. And it flowed into my eating, it flowed into my habits. And so definitely investing into yourself was a major turning point for me, and really just moving the needle forward in everything else. Because also when you're stretched a little bit financially, it forces you to think differently. It forces you to try to make the most out of it, and it forces you to think what can come out of this. You know what I mean? If you just kind of stand on the sidelines or whenever it is, you're never actually going to be able to know. But once you tap into that and you just purchase and you just do it on that thing that you know is going to help you and benefit you, you start to think on how can this really improve my life, and can I keep this up so it's able to do that. And that leads into other things that I invested in, which is business coaching. I talk about this story a lot, but I used all of my money for taxes into business mentorship. And this act alone was a leap of faith and not something that I recommend. But when I did do that, I was able to launch my business and have a very successful launch to where I didn't need to worry about that money that I spent for my taxes. And I know for a fact, if I did not invest into that business coaching mentorship, I would not have been able to see the success that I have in my business. And a quote that I live by is, they say there's no shortcut to success, but that's wrong. The shortcut to success is mentorship. And so actually tapping into that, right? That kind of fear, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is my money for the IRS. Like, I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean? And that alone made me to work harder. It made me start to learn more, be a sponge, act more, act harder. And that really changed the game for me in terms of my mindset and also the success that I saw in my business. Number 5, and I've kind of been talking about it already within the span of this video, and it's really focusing on rewiring my mindset and expanding my mindset. So the 2 books that I'd highly recommend is Atomic Habits and The Mountain Is You. And the reason why this was such a huge part, and it was a big part of my journey from the very beginning, is because you are only as capable as your mindset. And this is kind of a hard concept to grasp if you're not in the self-development space. So to put it plainly, you're only as capable as your mindset. There's certain limitations that we set on ourselves. Maybe your family has. Maybe it's a I'm always broke mentality. Maybe it's no matter what, no matter how much money I have, it's never enough mentality. Maybe it's a hoarding mentality. Like, it really doesn't matter. There's so many different things that we're all capped by. And even the things that we tell ourselves, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm capable of this. Whatever it is, we all have narratives that we tell ourselves all of the time. And I had narratives that really weren't serving me. Like, how can I say that I want to lose weight, but then I tell myself, oh, I'm so lazy, I'm so undisciplined? How can I say I want to have a successful business when I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can make enough money. I don't think I'll ever be able to get there. I don't know if I'm going to ever be able to hit this amount of money per month. If I kept telling myself those things, then I'm never going to get there. Okay. And understanding that part of my mindset was so important. And that's where the book, The Mountain Is You, really came in clutch for me to understand what those were specifically for me. But the next part to that was, how can I execute on those things? And that's where Atomic Habits came in. And I speak about this all the time. Atomic Habits changed my life. It's what I built my business off of. It's called the 1% transformation method, because in Atomic Habits, it tells you how you can pretty much act on those things, act on the changes, especially for somebody who has a hard time with follow through, which was me entirely. That book taught me how to get started 1% better every single day. That's what I named my business off of, the 1% transformation method, because that's how I changed my health, that's how I changed my mindset, and that's how I changed my life, was through 1% actions. How can I just get a little bit better every single day? How can I show up first and systemize things, build a system, build a habit, and then optimize? How can I start to take things to the next level? And that's pretty much how I rebuilt my entire mindset, my physical health. And that's what I teach my clients too in my one-on-one coaching. And so your mindset plays a huge role. And so I put a lot of time and effort, especially into my mornings, like I talked about. The habits that I had in the morning had to deal a lot with that, and pouring into that and rewiring that. And that in itself is one of the hugest differences, or one of the things that made the hugest difference in terms of how I executed and changed my life. Number 6 is I started my business, okay? And not everybody is going to have a business that they want to start. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but this can be something new that you've been wanting to try. Maybe it is starting a business. Maybe it's posting content. Maybe it's just whatever it is when it comes to starting anything new. I was very open to doing the things that kind of scared me. You know what I mean? And so I started my business. I kind of quit my 9-to-5, my job, on a whim. I just went for it, and doing this made me more risk adverse. I started to see these things as challenges, not as threats, because a lot of the times people see posting content, fear, starting a business, it's all fear-based, you know what I mean? But when I just kind of did it anyways, it made me more risk adverse, where anything that I see, any obstacle that comes up, it's not a threat to me. It's, oh, what's something that I can do to overcome this? And it's just a new challenge. It's like a game. And so definitely doing things that kind of scare you, that take you outside of your comfort zone, is the thing that you should do. And that's where the mindset work comes into play. That's where everything else that I talked about, it makes that a lot easier. It's all about becoming more used to being uncomfortable. And that was a really big one for me that really changed my life, both on a mindset level, but also on a financial level as well. Number 7 is I stopped listening to people who didn't understand me and what I was doing and my line of work, because obviously I am first gen entrepreneur, online coaching, content creation. It's a new topic in a sense. People don't understand how this is a real job, how it pays, you know what I mean? And so sometimes I would confide in friends and family or talk about these things, but they simply do not understand that realm of me and my job, and they would give unsolicited advice that really didn't serve me, that made me think a certain way about what I'm doing, and it made me feel partially ashamed of what I was doing, whether it was content or whether it was my business. And so I stopped talking about it pretty much entirely. If I needed to confide in someone, I'd simply say, I just need to confide in you, I do not need advice from you. But if anything, I just don't talk about it, and I don't listen to anybody who doesn't understand what I'm doing. This is where I go to friends who are in the similar line as me, or, you know, friends on social media, or even my business mentor. Like, if I had something within my career and profession, I would go to them, not friends and family who don't understand, because then they'll start saying things that may hurt your feelings, and that happens a lot, really, in my journey. And so when I just kind of removed that friction entirely, I just saw them as my friends and family, not someone who's hurting my feelings, you know what I mean? When really they don't mean it because they don't understand it. So that's a really important one, especially when it comes to setting those boundaries with people that you love. Last but not least, and this is probably the most important tip of all, and I started to bring God into every aspect of my life. So all of the tips that I've run over, my morning routine, I brought him into that. That's where my scripture study came in. Losing weight, I brought him into that as well. When it came to stopping scrolling, I needed strength to do that. That's actually something that he inspired me to do, to surrender something to him. So that's where his role in it. Investing to my health, I pray about it all the time. What should I invest in? What should I not invest in? Expanding my mindset, I would pray obviously about those things and what he wants me to learn more of, whether in the scriptures or in the books that I'm reading or the work that I'm doing on my mindset, and etc., etc. Like, he is in every aspect of my life. And this was such a hard thing for me to do, because when I thought about my business, content, my health, it felt, or for me, I just was very much like, this is my job, like, this is my role. I need to act. Like, it all boils down to me. And that left me burnt out. It left me anxious all of the time. Like, nothing was working at the same time. I was putting in all this work, I was getting anxious because I wasn't seeing the result that I wanted to get, and I was just left anxious, right? So as soon as I brought him into every single aspect of my life, my health, my business, my finances, that's where everything became a lot more fluid and solid and with ease and with much less anxiety, because I know that he's got me. I'm gonna work like it's all on me, but I'm gonna pray like it's all on him. And that made the hugest difference in terms of the follow through with everything, enjoying the journey, romanticizing the journey, and really just surrendering the journey to him as well, and trusting in the vision that he's had for my life. And this is a part of it, posting on YouTube, trusting in the vision that he's had in my life, or for my life. And this is my way of acting towards that. So that pretty much concludes all of our tips for how I leveled up and changed my life. And so I hope you're able to take this advice, run with it, and see results from it. But as always, thank you for being here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this kind of content, as I'm planning to post weekly or bi-weekly. I'm not too sure yet. Hopefully weekly. Other than that, thank you for being here. I'll see you guys in the next video.